Absolutely go time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the
Man.
Basketball Maestros. I am joined by two great guests in Daniel
Daniel
Lewis
Lewis.
and Ryan Judge. How you guys doing today?
Honored to be here.
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some basketball.
That's great to hear. So first, we're going to start off with a little story time. So us three, we're in a fantasy league with a bunch of other friends, and
No.
us three, we are deal makers, to say the least. We love
Once a week.
We love on ESPN seeing that green check mark go through, and that's what we strive to do every time we get together and talk some deals. So, who wants to start off with the storytelling so far?
How did it start? Who initiated it? I think it was Matt.
I think it was you, Matt. You kind of said it's a joke at first, as it always starts. Let's get a deal done. And then Ryan said 3-team.
We were playing crab game.
We
Crowd game.
at 2 a.m. PST, we started our trade talks. So maybe a little bit of impulse decisions here and there. A little tired, just wanting to go to bed. But
That was only on your end.
Shut up. We ended up making the deal get through, and I don't know if Matt wants to say like the details, but
I'll say it. All right, so I traded Jarrett Allen and Kristaps to get Julius Randle. Ryan gave up Devontae Graham and Luke Kennard for and he got Kristaps, and then Daniel got Devontae and Luke and Jarrett. I think that was it.
I gave up Julius and Doug, but Doug doesn't count.
Oh yeah, Doug isn't really a basketball player anymore. So I'll start off with my thoughts on the trade. I got a very nice player in Julius Randle to help my fantasy team.
Daniel, dude.
My team is a little top heavy. I got Westbrook, Brogdon, Levine, Randall, Cat, and then Spicy P, and then a bunch of scrubs. But
Scrubs.
I think it was a fair offer, giving up two pretty solid pieces for one better player. So honestly, I think I came out with a very good outcome in this trade, personally.
Definitely did. Oh, dude.
Ryan, you can go next.
Yeah, gladly. All right. First, Devontae, I talked up a lot. Way too much.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's
way too
all right.
much.
I'm glad he's gone off my team. Though he does everything I said was true. Gets shots, gets minutes. He can't shoot very well some nights. That's kind of a trend. And I needed a center. So I'm glad I got Porzingis because he's like a buy low. Devontae is not bad, but I feel like Daniel kind of lost a little bit. Dude, like, all right, so he got in return Devontae and Allen. Allen is good. I don't know if he's gonna be this good for the whole season because I didn't expect this. But Devontae as the shiny piece to give up Julius, I don't know, dude. I don't know about that. Which, so Matt kind of won on that part. I feel like I kind of stole Porzingis in a sense because I really talked up Luke Kennard like he was a really valuable piece. But I don't think that would have went through if it wasn't 3 a.m. and Daniel was tired and pressured. But honestly, it's only a slight loss. It's not that
it's
bad.
my time. It's my time. Okay. Going into that, I didn't want to give up Julius at all, but realistically, it's what always happens. But my legitimate thoughts, who I got, I get Jarrett Allen, who's averaging 15 and 11. It's the best year so far of his career. And granted, what are we in, like 10, 11 games in? So it's fine. But my whole thing going into the players I was receiving is consistency. Julius will proved it last year, and he's done it so far this year that he's going to put up big numbers. And I think the problem with the two players I received is one, Devontae Graham. Yes, he's shooting well from the 3-point line right now. He's like, I don't even know what he is, dude. He's fucking.
He's off and on.
I think
that's
he's
for
like
sure.
30. He's 35%. So I mean, that's not bad. But the problem I see with it, really, and why I kept telling Ryan I don't want Devontae, is because Ingram's coming back. Zion's gonna eventually get his. He's eventually gonna be on the court. So I mean, that is gonna take shots away from Devontae, and it's just. I just hope that. Same with Luke Kennard. He's a good, just 3-point shooter, but can they shoot the ball well throughout the year? And that's like, I guess, the risk I'm taking here.
Definitely
As well
last
as
night.
he
1
definitely
for
hasn't
5,
been.
dude.
He didn't shoot well last night, Kennard, and Devontae plays tonight, so we'll see. But we just gotta hope that Jarrett stays consistent, and he's on the Cavs. So I mean, team's kind of. I mean, they're doing well at the start of the year, but he should continue to see this amount of work he's getting. I hope he does, because him and Julius are like not too far off of averaging, like for fantasy, not too far off. And I mean, it's not too much of a loss in my opinion. Now that I look at it, because I did drop Damian Lee and Doug McDermott for Devontae and Luke Kennard.
It's a slight
So
loss.
it's like a
That's on
slight
my
loss
team,
because I'm
though.
losing Julius, but I do gain a little bit of depth, which is kind of what I need because I already have Dame, who's yikes. But it just matters on consistency whether I win or lose. So we just kind of have to see how it plays out. But overall, right now, I do think I lose.
If
It's
I,
honestly not even that bad. Like, it really isn't. Now that I look at it. Devontae's meh, but you got rid of Doug, dude.
Devontae is heavily meh.
if you guys were to give a grade to us three for the trade, what would you give?
Like, each person.
Yeah, like each person a letter grade. What would you give?
Alright, I'll give Daniel. I'll start with Daniel. Dude, honestly, it wasn't too trash. It was like probably a B minus, like maybe a C plus. Me, I'll give it an A. And then Matt, honestly, an A minus. I think I got the better end of everyone.
Dana, what would you think?
There's just one factor. If Devontae and Kennard fall off, I get a B minus C plus. But if they stay consistent and like stay at the numbers that they're kind of averaging right now, I'd say like I get a B, maybe pushing a B plus depending on Jarrett. Ryan gets an A. Gave up
Oh yeah.
2 like mediocre players for Porzingis, and depending if Porzingis plays well and stops being utter garbage, then that works out. I think Matt gets like a I don't know. Matt gets like a B plus in my opinion because like giving up Jarrett and Porzingis for Julius is like definitely a win, but I feel like his team doesn't have as much depth to like do that, so he is kind of losing like just a little bit of depth there, but it's not too big to where like he deserves like a B or like he has like an 89%. He's like right there close to an A.
Yeah, honestly, that's what I'm kind of looking at for my team because my depth was very limited coming out of it with giving up Porzingis and Jarrett. And right now I kind of don't have a backup center. I just have Wiseman, and he's at least out till mid-November, I think. But for Kristaps, knowing Ryan, he'll probably be perfectly fine because Ryan's players are always just ungodly good for some reason. But right now he's on a minutes restriction, which is expected since he just came back. But I think giving up Jarrett and Kristaps was fair for getting a top power forward in the league in terms of fantasy with Julius. So I'd give myself probably like an A minus, and then Ryan didn't have to give up much for Kristaps with Luke Kennard and Devontae Graham, so I give
Oh,
Ryan
man.
probably like a solid A, and then Daniel, I'd honestly give a B minus. I don't think it's that horrendous, but Devontae will definitely be solid since he's starting point guard, and at least with Zion and Ingram out, I don't think his production will be that bad, even with or without them there. So, and then Luke Kennard, I don't even want to talk about him. He's just Luke Kennard, and then Jarrett. I think even when Marketing and Kevin Love come out of protocol, I think Jarrett will still be averaging a double-double for pretty much most of the year, so I think that'll be fine as well. So I'd give Daniel probably a B minus. And yeah, that was our fantastic.
Devontae, I told Daniel this before. He's not gonna. It's gonna be the bench role players that are gonna lose shots and minutes. Devontae will probably still get like 10 plus a game.
Yeah.
He'll still be on the floor, but like it's just like he just won't get too many opportunities to make like a play. I feel like just because when Ingram and Zion comes back, like he's gonna be like that third or fourth option. So it's just unlucky.
Definitely.
Oh my god.
All right. So next topic. Yesterday I believe it was, or the day before. It was Denver, Miami, and towards the end of the game, Markieff gave Jokic a little bit of a cheap shot to the ribs, and then Markieff started walking down the floor, and Jokic legit pile drived him to the ground, and Markieff kind of sold it. I think, at least, I don't think it was that hard of a hit, but it was still not right for Jokic to hit a guy who wasn't even looking at him. So Markieff was down for like 10 minutes. They brought out a stretcher, but he eventually got up and he was fine. But on social media, people were bringing up the question of who would win in a fight, the Morris brothers or the Jokic brothers? If you guys have seen what Nikola Jokic's brothers looked like.
Now
I don't know how tall they are though. Are they 7 foot?
let me start this off. I don't think what Jokic did was like as bad as people are saying, or some people on Twitter. I don't know if I don't remember the quote exactly, but I saw like Shaq come out and say like, if you hit me like that, you better expect like a big man, like a center coming at you. So I don't know why like the entire Heat team was like, dude, what is he doing? No, like watch it back. Like you shouldn't be surprised. But I think the Morris brothers should be very scared. All right. Those are two big Serbian men, and I'm sorry, dude. One of them, I don't know their names, but I saw one of them, dude, and that man,
they're
massive. One of them's 6'11".
They are massive.
They're legit ripped.
They are massive. So I don't know what Markieff and Marcus think they're gonna do, but oh lord, I would love to see.
If they were the same height, then the Morris brothers would win, but
no,
Jokic, dude,
there's just no chance. I just feel like the Jokic brothers are just more built overall.
Yeah.
And I just think that unless like Markieff and Marcus gain a little bit of agility, then it's just over. Like simply. I just think it's too much power.
Jokic brothers win.
Jokic brothers win in a landslide.
Yeah,
but I need to see this boxing matchup. It needs to happen.
And I think they created a Twitter. I don't know
if they did.
I don't know if it was like actually them, but I think it is. And they're all tweeting like I think they were tweeting at Markieff saying how like you better watch yourself or else, or like actually threatening to fight them. And it was like actually insane because Jokic's brothers are absolutely insane. They're legit jacked and Serbian, which is not okay. But at first I thought, okay, the Morris brothers are like dogs, but like I feel like they're all bark, no bite in a sense, because like if you're fighting Jokic's brothers, like I really think most people don't stand an absolute chance. So honestly, I don't even think it comes close, and I would be shaking in my boots if I was Marquis from Marcus at this point.
Yeah, they definitely should be scared if like an actual fight happens. They obviously probably won't be scared because like they're still going to go in with a mentality that they're going to win. But I feel like it's going to be like the Nate Robinson fight. Just going to get knocked out and just lay there.
I would pay money to watch that fight. I would say that.
That would probably be like the only pay-per-view boxing matchup I would pay for,
We need
and I
another
wouldn't.
Malice at the Palace. The Morris brothers.
Okay.
We should just
Okay.
start fighting in the stands again.
Because we don't know if they're bite or bark.
Who?
The Morris brothers, because in the NBA, if you bite, you're getting suspended.
Yeah, but like, the Jokic brothers are absolutely jacked.
They're jacked. It is. I really hope that Twitter account is real too. I really hope they made that.
Paul, where Christian's picture is, put a picture of the Jokic brothers so the people can see how insane these Serbian men are. Thank you. Okay. Next, the Wizards and Cavs off to a very solid start, as I mentioned a couple times throughout the show. And the Hawks falling to the Warriors, was it Tuesday?
That was last night. Curry just
Curry with 50 and 10 assists. And I believe they lost to Utah yesterday, so they fall to 4-8 on the year, which is surprising coming off a surprising Eastern Conference Finals trip in the playoffs. And so what are your thoughts on the Hawks so far? On
Hawks
the
are trash.
I think it's just mainly like their bench that's really kind of losing him games because I feel like last year Lou Williams was averaging 11 points and now this year he's only averaging 3.
He like doesn't even play.
So he doesn't even play. I don't know if it's just like I don't know what's not making him play. If it's just now he's just old and can't compete anymore, but it's just I feel like they're kind of like losing scoring once Trey comes out. So I just feel like their bench is kind of the reason they're losing. Gallo's even like a little like worse this year, and I don't know. I just don't think the bench scoring's there. And Clint just like fell off this year. I mean,
It's not even his fault too much, honestly.
He's not even like
small ball.
They really don't give him enough minutes, and then he doesn't shoot.
Yeah, he's only averaging 9.9 points right now. Hasn't even like his rebounds are like always gonna be up there in like 11 to 12. So I mean, I get small ball, I guess if that's what you're trying to do, but I don't know. I just don't like the Hawks are just weird to me. I just don't understand how they're losing, but they're losing, and I think the real problem.
Collins isn't playing good either.
Yeah, John Collins isn't as he's. I mean, his numbers are kind of the same from last year, at least like rebounds and points. But I just feel like they're just losing it on the bench, and just when it comes to the fourth quarter, they're just kind of like losing games. Like last night, that Hawks game was close until the fourth quarter, and then the Warriors just pulled away.
I don't think John Collins is getting enough minutes either. He's like under 30 a lot. You need to like give him and Capella like 34 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what's really happening. I don't know like the vision that they see. But yeah, it's just
there's no
it's
vision.
Weird. There's yeah, even like DeAndre Hunter hasn't been like a lot better from last year. His 3-point shooting went up a little bit, but that's like it's not really even like a big of a difference. Herder's numbers went down from last year, so like that's more of like,
Yeah, he doesn't really play. Actually, he played good last game, but that was because Bogdan and I think DeAndre Hunter were out.
Bogdan was out. So I mean, it's just some players not playing as good as they did last year. Trey, I think his 3-point
he's had some bad shooting nights, but he's good overall. He's still
his shooting's a little bit down to start off the year, but I feel like they're still gonna make the playoffs. There's no like doubt in my mind. I just think the bench needs to step up, and there's just no reason you shouldn't be playing Capella and Collins under 30 minutes. I just don't understand that. Really.
I think John Collins is shooting kind of bad too, honestly. or he's not shooting enough. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I
I
didn't
mean,
draft him.
I almost drafted him, so thank God. Yeah, so the Hawks, I think their main issue is they have way too many forwards with Gallo, Bogdan, DeAndre, and Cam Reddish. They've talked about
forgot about Cam
they
Reddish.
talked about moving Cam Reddish in the offseason, but they never did that. So I think to get some bench help or get some variety in positions off the bench, that they need to at least package like 2 or 3 other forwards to get something for their bench, because yeah, they really need that bench help, especially with Trey, and they don't really have too many dynamic scorers like Trey on their team. They're more kind of spot up guys, so I think they could use some playmaking off the bench like a Lou Williams, but like he really doesn't play at all anymore. So yeah, it's kind of a tough situation for the Hawks, honestly, but I think they'll be fine when Daniel is gone.
Daniel just there we
That's
go.
right.
Oh, there he is.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think the Hawks will be fine. Honestly, I think they'll be in the top 5 in the East at the end of the year, but still a little concerning to be 4-8 to begin the year.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't like know the lore, I guess, to like why Lou Williams isn't
lore.
playing, but I haven't like put in too much research into it. But I just you're losing. He was averaging 11 last year. You're losing like 7 points off the bench, something like that. So, and he's like a consistent, always just scoring off the bench, and they just lost that.
Yeah, he was good in the playoffs too.
Yeah, he was always clutch. I don't know why they're not playing him, but
I don't get
go
it.
Hawks.
Go Hawks. I just thought about another team we could talk about, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another year where they start off pretty solid. I believe they started off 2-0. And I was watching the Memphis game that they played a couple nights ago, and they were up 18 with, I believe, 7 or 6 minutes left in the game, and then ended up choking that game away and going in overtime with an insane Cat Bank 3. But they eventually lose in overtime to fall to 3-6 on the year. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cat starts becoming more and more frustrated with the team, because it's shown in years past where they get on these losing streaks, and they have gone on like a 19-game losing streak before, so it's anything's possible at this point. And since they don't really have any guys on the team that has like a winning like mindset, besides maybe Pat Bev, but Wolves are just god awful.
Spencer's calling me. Hold on.
I mean, I think with the Wolves, you lost Ricky Rubio in the off season, so I mean, as much as like he's not like that dynamic of like a player, or that's a wrong word, but just that backup point guard to come in after D'Angelo sits. Pat Bev is obviously like, yeah, he's a good player, good defender, but he's not the passer, he's not the scorer that Ricky Rubio is. And as well as I think the main problem with the Wolves is it's pretty much just the Anthony Edwards and Cat show. I mean, there's really like, I mean, D'Angelo's there, like, obviously, but I feel like his numbers are kind of like down this year. I feel like he's not shooting as well. So there's no real big three right now. So it's just kind of like you just praying that Anthony Edwards and Cat get you a win. And Malik Beasley last year was averaging like around 20 points, and this year he's averaging 10. So he's obviously not having the same year as last year. So it's just too much inconsistency on the team, not enough scoring. I think they just lost that, like the Hawks. They just kind of lost some bench help. Malik Beasley's off. Rubio's gone. I mean, it's just as simple as Pat Bev isn't the same offensive player as Rubio, so you're just not going to have that stable bench, and they're just losing games because of it. So,
damn,
poor
dude.
Cat.
I gotta close tonight now. That's not good. Oh well.
It's okay. You know, I like Cat. I want the Wolves to be successful, but it's just the players that they have surrounding him are just, yeah, it's like his back has to hurt, dude. That franchise is
Like,
wow.
honestly, on paper, going into the year, I was calling them a potential play-in team because honestly, I think the Grizzlies got worse with trading Valanciunas. But I think the Wolves are better than the Grizzlies on paper, but the Wolves just have the same old issues where they can't keep a lead and just fumble lots of winnable games. Like they lost to the Pelicans and the Magic, and the Pelicans' only win is against them, and they're 1-10 right now. So the Wolves have a lot to work on to improve their or their record if they really want a chance at the play-in. But I think it's time to start the free Cat chance. Cat needs to get out of there. Team's garbage.
Elo's kind of
Yeah,
washed.
I'm not even like it's not even like it's just they do choke as well, but you're hoping players like Jaden McDaniels step up. I mean, you just kind of hope that he just kind of becomes more of a consistent scorer, and you now have Torian Prince, who is not like I'm not saying he's like crazy, but he averaged 10 points last year. And now he's averaging 3, so it's just like
And he's shooting pretty awful.
it's just what is he averaging from he's averaging 16% from 3 and 22% from the field. Like
Jesus.
Who
you're
is?
just Torian Prince. Like I'm not saying like
he's bad, dude.
I'm not saying that he's like a game changer, but I mean it is really a game changer if you look at it. You're losing a guy who he always averages around 10 to like 12, and now you're getting 3 from him. So it's just like you're just hoping that these players step up, and that's just simply not what's happening. It's just disappointment really all around. Like Cat and Edwards are like the only bright spots, but how much longer is Cat going to want to keep, losing? And I'm pretty sure he's not like Dame, who's just going to sit there and rot and just be loyal. But
Yeah, definitely not.
Cat definitely wants to win. I feel bad for him, really. I really do.
Timberwolves trade for Ben Simmons. I'm telling you, get D'Lo off that team. You guys need defense. Get Ben Simmons. I don't care what his
I don't know if that would work,
is.
dude.
Ben Simmons.
I
to
don't
try.
think that's the solution.
You need to try something, dude. Like, even
I don't know if
D'Lo
Ben Simmons
just-
is the answer.
Honestly, D'Lo's playing kind of bad overall, so they could literally probably just swap him. I don't know how the contracts would work, but
I think that would
Simmons is a buy
definitely-
low.
I think it honestly like kind of works for both teams. The Sixers get D'Lo, who's obviously a better scorer than Ben, but the Timberwolves get Ben, so I think it could work for both teams. I just don't think it will happen because I think Ben's gonna like cry and not want to go to the Timberwolves. So I don't think it really would happen, but it'd definitely be interesting to see how that would play out. I'd love to see that actually.
Yeah, I feel like the Timberwolves would be like the only team that would want to trade for Ben Simmons at this point. But it is what it is. Moving on to the Frank meter. It's been a while
Oh boy.
since the first episode. I did introduce the Frank meter, and now we're revisiting the Frank meter again. Ryan, why don't you start us off, and what do you see with Frank now 11 games into the year?
There's one thing. I know Westbrook fills up the stat sheet, but like you have to play him because he's our all-star, whatever you want to call him. Honestly,
Avoided saying superstar.
yeah, he's really not. Like I understand you have to play him because he has that label of like he's Westbrook, he's a high overall in 2K and stuff.
2K.
Is he like
Like-
an 84 this year? Didn't they like drop him?
He's like an 80. Wait, really? Is that low?
Yeah, he's like an 84 to begin
That's
2K. I don't know
honestly-
if it's gone up or down. I don't know.
No joke. That's honestly kind of high.
What'd you rank him?
The way he's playing right now, he's honestly a 78 just because
Wow.
he's fast.
Just because he's fast.
Like seriously, man. I watched that whole fourth quarter last game. He was hurting our team, but we have to play him because he's Westbrook, and we gave up our future for him.
Yeah.
Like I saw him. The best thing I saw him do is grab like 3 rebounds, but he runs full speed to the other side, loses control of every thing that's going through his head, throws the ball out, turns it over, bricks a shot, shoots 1 for 13. He's really just hurting our entire team. I'm not saying that lightly, dude. He's seriously the problem. I know, yeah, you can say there's too much Westbrook slander, but dude, I've never been on the Westbrook train, to be honest.
Now, Westbrook definitely is a big reason to why I feel like we're struggling right now. But back to Frank.
Oh yeah, this is about Frank.
I could see I guess why right now he's starting DJ because LeBron's out, but right when LeBron comes back, if DJ's in the starting lineup, I am going to lose it. I don't know, I saw dude, I was on Instagram. I should have saved it, but I saw a stat how the Lakers are just their win loss is 10 times better with DJ not starting. And we just need to run AD at the 5. I know we have injuries like Ariza and THT and none, but I can't stand DJ at the 5. The loss we took to Portland, I was watching the game, Matt, and I no joke watch DJ for 4 possessions in a row, and all he does is stand there,
Dude.
Put his arms up like he's gonna set a screen, and he's just he's not helping Westbrook with spacing. Westbrook is just an awful shooter, so the spacing is already messed up. We need to start an actual shooter, not DJ, because LeBron's already iffy as a shooter. AD he just picks and chooses which nights he wants to shoot well. So it's
AD's been balling, honestly.
AD has been balling, but
Except
some
when
nights
his tummy hurt or whatever the last
but
game.
some nights he does feel like he's a little off. But
he does.
Yeah,
Frank does settle a lot.
Frank just needs to obviously I know a lot of the guys are new, and I don't know who. I think it was who was it? It was James Worthy, I think, on the post game for the Lakers. He said he'd give it into Christmas to see if this team is actually good and could make a run. And I kind of agree with him. We should hopefully be getting some players back by then. And if Frank is still starting DJ by Christmas, if he's not fired, then I don't know. I'm not
who
trying
starts, though? Does AD go to 5 or does Dwight start?
AD goes to 5. There's no point in putting a traditional center because you need another shooter or just someone who's not DJ just to be there to help spacing. Because with Westbrook on the floor, you just kind of have to accept that you're just not going to you're just losing shooting already. So putting DJ just to stand there on a block is not really helping. So that's just what I think. And Frank is fine right now, but once we're at Christmas and we're still struggling, then I think you definitely should see the question, should Frank be fired?
I mean, we've won a ring with him. It's been
Good for him.
before.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Good for us.
LeBron
But this is
LeBron and AD had a 5-month hiatus to recover, so that obviously played a factor. But what would you guys give Frank on a scale of 1 through 10? 1 being god awful, fire him. 10 being absolutely amazing, no flaws.
I'll give a 5 because a lot of it's not his fault. Honestly, I still think trade Westbrook by the deadline.
okay.
Seriously.
We're not even gonna get into that. I'd give him a 5 or 6. I'm kind of with Ryan. There's a lot of things that he really can't control, but it definitely once we get healthy, and if his rotation or his rotations are a little iffy still, and his starting lineups are just not it, then yeah, I'd kind of start pondering the question. But I don't think he gets fired this season. I don't think there's a chance he gets fired. There's just no way that he get fired. But if we're still struggling by January and stuff, I think that question will definitely be asked in the offseason.
For reference, I looked up DJ's minutes against Portland. He played 20 minutes.
That is like DJ should not be getting over like 10. Like
Now, against Charlotte, he played 10 minutes, which
there you go.
felt
There you
a
go.
lot longer, or felt like he played like a lot more minutes than that. But DJ to start games, I guess, but at least by like the 6-minute mark, he has to get out. Like, Jesus Christ, he is god awful. He doesn't box out most of the time. He tries
that one play with Larry Nance.
He tries to go for offensive rebounds, never gets a single one. And then he's just awful in pick and rolls.
I'm surprised we haven't talked about pick and roll defense for the Lakers.
I don't want to get into that.
It's already been mentioned on this podcast, and
it still hasn't gotten better.
Somehow it like feels like it's gotten worse, but that's okay.
But I think I'm still at a 6 with Frank. Not much has changed to improve the rating that I have, but by Christmas, I agree that that's where we get a true evaluation of our team, when Ariza, THT, and Nunn should all be back by then, at least, I would hope. But, yep,
Frank needs LeBron back, carry his ass.
Lakers have a really big game tonight against the Heat, so the Heat coming off a pretty disappointing loss against Denver, and I'm sure
they'll bounce back. Don't worry.
I'm sure they'll come out angry after the whole Jokic stuff, so it should be definitely interesting to watch that. All right, moving on to game picks. I'll revisit my last episode in terms of game picks. Knicks at Philly, the Knicks won, and I picked the Knicks, so that was good. The Bulls won, I picked the Bulls. Memphis, I had a feeling Timberwolves were not going to win that game, and lo and behold, they blew an 18-point lead in the fourth quarter, and not surprising. So I got that one right. Pels at Mavs, I picked the Mavs, obviously, and they won. Heat at Denver, I picked Heat, and they obviously lost in a blowout. Atlanta at Golden State, I picked the Warriors, and Steph dropped 50. Suns at Kings, Suns are better. Lakers and Hornets, I picked the Lakers, obviously, and they barely won. So that was something. So moving on to today's games, there's an ungodly amount of games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Fantasy.
13. Okay.
That's the entire league.
Starting off, Wizards at Cavs. I got Wizards. It'll probably be close since they're two pretty decent teams. But I got the Wizards. Brooklyn at Orlando. Brooklyn, no explanation. Toronto at Boston. Probably Toronto, since I think they're a solid team and their defense is insane. Milwaukee at Knicks. I think that'll be a pretty close one, but I got Milwaukee. Detroit at Houston. The two garbage cans firing it out, but I got Houston. Dallas at Chicago. I got Chicago. They're just better. Chicago at Memphis. Probably Memphis. OKC at New Orleans. Two garbage can fires going at it again, so I got OKC since they're not as horrendous. Sacramento at San Antonio. Kings are a better team, so I got the Kings. Indiana at Denver. I think that'll be a close one with Brogdon finally coming back after an illness. Thank God for fantasy. Denver, I got winning that one since they're at home. Portland at Phoenix. Probably Phoenix since they're at home as well. And I think they're a better team than Portland by a mile. Minnesota at Golden State. They have no chance at winning that game, especially on the road, and they're the Timberwolves. So Warriors, and then Miami at Lakers. I sadly have to pick the Lakers, but I honestly think we'll probably lose this game, but honestly, I gotta pick.
It's a home game, so Lakers.
Yeah, but
it's a home game, but does that really mean that?
Yeah,
slightly.
Lost to OKC at home, and we're 5-3 at home. Wow, I thought it was way worse than that. But any games you guys are looking out for on today's slate?
I'm really excited to see how the Knicks play against the Bucks. Obviously the Bucks won the championship last year, and the Knicks have been a really surprising team. Well, they're not obviously I thought they'd be good again, but with Kemba and Fournier, they've been really playing well in my opinion. So be interested to see how that game plays out. And another game, I actually might be an upset. Magic and Nets. I feel like the Nets have been kind of iffy.
No way you
But
picking the Magic.
I'm not, dude. It's an upset. It's an upset.
I
pick.
mean, they did beat Utah at home.
I feel like the Magic are like, they're just kind of like that weird team, in my opinion, where like they could steal a couple games here and there. I'm not saying they're.
Bamba on that team.
Yo, he
He's been balling out this year.
I'm not saying they're gonna do it or like it's guaranteed, but it would be very interesting, and like I think talks would start to come up if the Nets do lose that game. So, saw Ryan's mom come in, but
Carolina.
yeah, I think especially with Cole Anthony, I think he's been playing really well this year, and if the Nets lose that game, like I said, I think conversations should start about are they a legit contender this year.
Amen.
Oh.
Amen.
Oh, Ryan's not here, so GG.
Ryan, where are you? Give us your
I'm back. I'm back. All right. This is gonna relate more to fantasy, but the Bucks. I'm excited. Actually, I'm not excited. I'm a little concerned about Drew Holiday. I'm gonna keep a keen eye on him because he's had a few rough games back from injury. He's rusty as hell. He's shooting pretty atrocious, so I want him to start shooting good now for mostly fantasy purposes. But also, Cavs versus Pelicans, that's the game, right?
Wizards at Cavs.
Oh. Well, never mind.
Wow.
That's alright.
That's fantastic. Okay. I think that's going to do it. Anything you guys would like to say before we skedaddle out of here?
Go Lakers.
Wow,
Can't
that's
wait
fantastic.
to watch
Can't
the
wait to
Lakers a bit during my shift.
Can't wait to
Hopefully,
see
score's good.
Devontae Graham and Luke Kennard absolutely fall off the face of the earth, as well as Jarrett. Can't wait for him to go back to averaging like 9 and 8 or something. I don't even know. It's something.
For the first time, I'm content with my fantasy team. I'll say that.
No one cares.
All right, we'll see.
That'll do it for the third episode of the Basketball Maestros podcast. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Leave a like, subscribe, Instagram in the description. Follow that.
Instagram, or you're weird.
Yeah, or else you're an absolute weird champ and you'll lose all your friends if you don't do it. So
You could put hot takes like Jakob Pertl as a
Honestly, dude.
top.
No joke.
No,
All
stop,
jokes aside.
End it now. End
All right,
the
I
episode.
don't
all right,
End it.
we're,
End
we're,
it.
we're, we're good.
End
Thank you
it.
guys for watching. See you next time. Bye.